So, hello, Andrea. I'm here with Andrea Farinetti coming from Modena, Italy. Andrea is a former two-time Champions League winner and reserve individual and now well, reserve world pairs champion. Andrea, this has been a busy season, maybe also a little bit of a silly season for yourself. I don't know. Every season is a little bit connected with stress and confusion about, ponies being well and what competitions you can do. Um, Now the last competition was 2 weeks ago, and how is your summary from the season, your conclusion?
First of all, thanks for having me. Yeah, I was definitely busy and, as you said, uh, maybe silly season because many things have happened, and it was a season that required some adaptation. I would say last minute adaptation. Yeah, we finished a couple of weeks ago with the European Indoor Cup, which went pretty well for myself. Um, we didn't reach the goal that we knew we could reach with the team, but I think that overall it was a good enough result. Yeah, the whole season, as I said, required a few changes, last minute changes. In May, I was supposed to ride my main pony biscuits, like the more experienced one at the World Individuals, and then a very unlucky because it was a small injury, but with a very unlucky timing, made me rethink the whole organization of that period of time because it was a very busy time with the Italian teams, then Champions League the week after, then World Individuals the week after, and then the Italian pairs. So I was supposed to have two ponies for those four competitions in 1 month, and then I ended up having only one. So I rode different ponies in the Italian championships, and I took my uh, younger pony up my FW to the Champions League and World Individuals. Champions League went very well. I have been very glad to ride for the Red Eagle team, Pony Material Red Eagle, which has been an amazing team through the whole season. They won basically anything that they have done, from the French Championships to the Champions League to the Indoor Cup, and so yeah, I was very glad to ride with them, and the competition was amazing. And then World Individuals the week after, probably it was a little bit of a risk for me to ride a very young pony in a back to back very high level competitions, and maybe I paid for that a little bit in the final. The pony was a little bit, I would say, tired, both mentally and physically. Um, but I had no choice, and I wanted to do both of them, so I kind of went all in, and I think the end result was I was happy with the end result. I tried to get the best out of it, and I think I was really close. Um, then World Pairs was just stop me if you want to, to
No,
get
go ahead.
deeper somewhere. World Pairs was uh, it's hard to describe the emotion connected to World Pairs because it's very mixed. There are very high positives and very big negatives in terms of how I feel about it. The, so I think that we had from the beginning on paper we had not very high chances to beat the favorites, and we went very close. We had a very precise strategy, and we managed to follow it from the beginning to the end, to the very end. But it wasn't quite enough at the end. So um, I don't think that you like that it's very important to deserve it more, because at the end of the day, only the winner is the winner. But the work that we have done, I think, was with Jules Duverger, my partner for the World Pairs, was a very good job in terms of how we managed to not fall into the trap of trying to chase the favorites, but just doing our thing the best as we could, and getting so close at the end was good and bad at the same time, I would say. And yeah, I would say that's a summary of how the main part of the season went. Obviously, I had to sacrifice a little bit my season in Italy with one pony, because I had to make choices. But I think if I had to if I have to consider the whole season and give my opinion about it, I would say I should be pretty happy.
And it's always, I think you um you're demanding, perfection from yourself, basically. And you like everything else than a win is kind of a little bit of a failure, but at the same time, sometimes you have a great performance and you don't win, and you kind of have to be happy about the performance, or you know. Um, I mean, you have come very close to winning in World Individuals, World Pairs. I mean, and also 2024 World Teams was actually quite close, even though it was the third position. It was only 3 points. Um, and this is, I mean, this you have come closer in the later years, and there was a period of time where I would say you were seeing yourself as a winner, but you were quite far away. How do you keep the motivation up? Because I can, you would be a person that one can see the pain of not achieving what you have put in, if that makes sense. Like you put a lot of work in, and one can sense the pain once you're not getting to the goal that you've worked for. How does I would say the pain fuel you, and what keeps you going every single season?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to start with the fact that I wasn't aware of how clear it was to, like, riders and generally people that are very much involved in the sport, how important is for me uh, to um, let's say reach some goals that I set for myself. Um, and I realized that after a few situations, like last year after World Individuals and this year after World Pairs, there were quite a few riders and people messaging me and kind of trying to send love, because I think I was spreading the fact that I was very upset with the fact that I worked so hard for something, and I was very close, but I wasn't quite there. Um, so the way the way that helps me to stay motivated and to be happy about what I'm doing is that I'm very passionate about it, about the sport, about horses in general, and also about the sport. And also I have changed my mindset through the years, and I I started to focus more on emotions and feelings rather than on medals, and that has helped me to get a lot of weight out of the um, out of the perception of getting closer to the goal. Um, because when you get closer, maybe you have the pressure of actually trying to achieve it, and you do your best to get to it. But focusing on chasing the emotions day by day, I think it's far, like for me, I try to think that it's far more important than chasing medals, because it's what you do every day, and like winning a world title is a dream, but it only means, only in quotes, that you were the best in the 3-4 days of the competition. But chasing the emotion day by day, I think it's much more important as an approach, because it fuels you to appreciate what you do, and it helped me a lot to appreciate the small improvements and to enjoy the like every steps of the way. So the passion that I have towards the sport and towards the horses and self improvement through horses, which I think it's a very interesting topic, because it's a peculiarity of the equestrian sports, that's like doing the journey with horses makes you appreciate the fact that you learn through them and through the relationship with them, and it helps a lot to get where you want to be, because you need to do it with them. It's always a kind of things that you do in a team with a partnership. So even when you do individuals, you're never on your own, kind of.
It's, I mean, I think we are probably getting off topic, but that's fine. Uh, I think, one question I was gonna ask today was, what do you think is holding back Italian riders from winning World Open Championships? Because Italy is, I have never seen a period of time where there's so many talented riders coming out of one country, and this is Italy. But before I come to the question, this is my hypothesis. What I'm stating is that mounted games obviously seems to be about being the fastest coming over the line, being the first coming over the line. But what it actually is a little bit deeper. I believe it's, the one that finds the best connection with his horse, the one that really gets into one in a mental way or in a relationship way, so that the motions get in one too. If you're the best in getting in one with your horse, then you're probably going to be the one winning as well. And this might seem, yeah, a little bit theoretical, but I've seen it with Colin, I've seen it with myself, I've seen it with now Elena. Of course, they are special athletes, the riders, also the ponies. But what made them so good is how well they are playing together with their horse. And this is like just a statement from myself. And now, when I'm coming to the question of what do you think is holding back the Italians, I'm not suggesting that the Italians are not in one with their horse, but I mean, it could be something that is connected to it. But I would guess that there's got to be some reason that is, valid for all of them, because you weren't the only one in the World Pass final. You weren't the only Italian in the World Pass final that could have won and maybe should have won, but with how the final was going. Um, and the World Team Championship 2024, the Italians, had a very strong team that could have won. Then 2024 World Individuals, I think there was 4 or 5 riders from Italy in that final, and there's got to be, something that is a similar reason to why each of them hasn't won. And what do you think, it takes for them to make the next step towards the first Italian world champion in the Opens?
I think that it's not so much a matter of being one with the pony, but being able to be consistent with it. So being one the whole time in a competition, and especially when it counts. I think like the main problem that it's at the bottom of this topic is that in Italy we have been very focused on, as you said, on being the fastest, the having the best performances in terms of horsepower and in terms of how fast we are able to play with the equipment. But and I think that this actually gave us some good results in terms of how some riders are able to play under pressure, and the level of their skills with equipment and how fast they are with their ponies. But I think the main aspect that we are lacking in Italy is more focus on the mindset, like how how much we give importance to how our head function when the pressure comes. When like for example, riding with the French team last year made me realize, and also riding with Jules um, made me realize how uh, much more France has worked to have the right tools to teach riders um, to be kind of mentally consistent and solid under pressure. I think that's the biggest strength that France has right now, because they have it on the big numbers, not just in a few riders. Like you can always find someone that just have the full package at some point in each country, but the work that France has done in the last maybe 10 years is giving them very, very big results. So I think that's the only thing we should focus on, because now we have good numbers. We have a good system that keep producing new young riders. We have good quality in terms of horses. So it's weird because if you look at Italy, we look as if we had anything that you need to win big things, but there's always something missing, and I think that's what we're missing.
Yeah, maybe one of the things that just came to my mind, it's also, if you haven't won for a while, obviously the competition at the top is always close. But if you haven't won for a while, then your mind starts to think in a way that you wouldn't normally think. You start to question things that you don't question usually. Whereas when you're on the winning team, like France, you have confidence. You know your team is going to take the same or the right decisions when the important moments come, and you can take that confidence into each of the competitions, and probably that's something that is helping them when they get under pressure. So moving on to maybe the your experience with the Red Eagle team, which you have mentioned, is it's surprising to me how dominant, in a way, it's surprising to me how dominant this team has been, but also how dominant the French team has been over the last few years, but especially the last 2 years. And uh, and it's surprising because they are dominant for very different reason to why an Irish team was dominant a few years ago, or an English team, or even the French team like 4 or 5 years ago when Lucas and Colin was on the team, because these teams are quite slow. I mean, obviously they're not slow, but in comparison to fast teams, they wouldn't be fast. But they are like functioning as a team really well. Um, and that they are technically really sound. And then obviously they have a lot of confidence and just a good mentality within the players. And so coming from the experience that you made this year, like how are you able to mm, transfer that knowledge into the Italian team? How can you make the Italians make gains from the experience that you have? Like,
Uh, it's a hard question. So at the moment, um, I have a job, so the time that I spend in the riding club is just connected to my activity as an athlete, and the rest of the time that I can dedicate to the movements in mountain games, I do it through the federation, being in the mountain games federal committee, and I try to bring up this topic, and we are working on making a change, and I think there will be. I'm confident. I'm not. I can say I'm 100% sure, but I'm confident. I can say we will have some big news in the way that Italy approaches the work with the highest level riders that can aim to be in the team. That's all I feel okay to say right now, because it's still a working process.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be very interesting moving forward to see, when Italy is actually going to be, able to again challenge for world championships in the open team, moving towards the next season. Looking at next season, obviously you'll hopefully have two horses back competing. Um, am I correct? They seem to be
Yeah,
fine right now. Yeah.
yeah.
And and will you, by the time of next season, have another horse that is competitive, like a third, or is the third horse still a novice?
It's still a novice. He's gonna be 5 years old next year. So this year was a very like novice type season. So the approach was just to train the horse and not making him feel the pressure of the competition, or actually trying to compete the others, but just teaching him the basics, uh, not just at home, but but also in a different environment, so he could get used to it. But yeah, I think I will start to, because we have a training category in Italy, which is made for not just for young horses, but for horses that needs to be um, not just for horses that needs to be trained, but also for horses that needs to be retrained, or that needs to be in a competitive environment, but without a competitive approach. And that's what that's all I need with that's all I did with this novice this year, and I think I will take it to a slightly more competitive approach next year. But yeah, I will have only two, not only, but I will have two competitive horses next year, which are biscuits and up.
Yeah. So next year, obviously, everybody by now will probably know it's going to be very busy starting from end July. It's going to be world individuals, Europeans, world teams, and world pairs. And now with you having those two horses, what do you have in mind how to, yeah, approach this very busy part of the season?
Uh, so obviously, World Individuals is a very appealing competition next year, with all the promotion and work that you and the Mountain Games studio team are doing. So for someone like me that has always dreamt of uh, achieving the biggest title in the sport, it's obviously a very appealing show to be part of. Um, I I don't have an exact plan right now, because I have to weigh um, my ambitions to my job and my availability. So I have to make sure that I don't want to do too much, and then I get kind of overwhelmed by all the commitments that I have, not just towards the sport, but also towards my job. So I also, being all these competitions so close to each other, I will have to make a choice. But I think it's a matter of will I be able to get 1 month of holiday in the summer? That's the biggest question mark, because even if obviously I will not be able to do all four, maybe three. It could be possible if I can get 1 month of a holiday, but Is it a good thing for me to focus on three big shows in the summer so close to each other? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's always hard to tell, it can go one way or the other, but I mean, for you, Champions League and World Individual straight after another was too much on the same horse. I would say for Elena, Rory, and Florian, it was a good choice because they were ready. They were, trained on this showground with the equipment. So, whatever can be right for one person doesn't have to be right for the other person. I
Yeah,
mean, and
yeah. Oh,
I
sorry,
mean,
sorry.
one thing which is probably like can be a good thing, depending on a personal situation when you're coming from Italy. Um, and you have two ponies or maybe even one, you can really make the most out of one big travel. You go from one show to the other, give one pony rest, and then you don't have to go from Italy to Germany, back to Italy to France, back to Italy, and then maybe another time. So I mean, there's definitely some challenges, but I think it'll also probably be a good opportunity for a few people, especially the ones that have two horses to choose between.
Yeah, definitely. I think I fought last no this year. I think I fought the same as Elena, Rory, Florian, and all the others that took part in both Champions League and World Individuals. Um, the only different thing is that I I planned to do one with one pony and the other one with the other pony. And then the plan changed, but I try to kept positive and say maybe riding in the same arena with the same equipment might help me. And I think it has helped me until the pony was too tired. Just
Yeah.
she just didn't have more to give.
But I think, for me, very often I did a season and then I looked back at the season and I found a few things that I wanted to correct, but sometimes I overcorrected. So, you have an idea, okay, I need to fix this and this, then you put a little bit too much focus on that area, which then leaves room for other areas to not to be improved or even to be less competitive because you didn't focus on them. So I think this is always a difficult part that one really has to evaluate. Okay, how was my preparation? What should I have changed? How much should I change? What should I keep? What should I not keep? And it's always, it's a little bit you have to try, and then when you have tried, then okay, maybe with this horse, I'm not gonna do back-to-back competitions, but at least I need 1 week of break or 2 weeks of break or whatever. But I mean, in Elena's case, and that would be similar to Florian, they would be very strong horses, very energetic horses. You wouldn't, and for Elena also experienced, like you wouldn't expect the horse to really be tired. With Rory, for example, would be maybe the case where I say, okay, maybe this is not a great idea, but I mean, it turned out well. So, and for world individuals and European individuals, I think with the world individuals being the first competition, I think it can help a good few people that that want to make the semifinals for the first time in their life or want to make the final or even win is that they do the world individuals just to be ready, because usually the world individuals really requires you to be on your top level, and even if you are not, riding in front of a very big crowd, what we have planned, will put a lot of pressure on you, and will prepare you to be ready to ride in a competition that is straight after or a few weeks after. So I think I don't think it's ideal, but there are positives to take away from the tight schedule as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just like for me, it's just I question myself whether if it's a good idea or not. Again, weighing it compared to the like to my commitment with job and stuff. I want to be like everyone. I think would like to be not to be too much stressed when you get to a big competition. So if the schedule of competition is very busy and the preparation towards this big part of the season is very busy as well, um, I I think you should just be careful that you don't do too much.
Yeah, and what I always found a challenge, like I would call it in in my later career, was that when you're pushing for 4 weeks of competing, then you've used up all your holiday, and you basically, okay, this the Saturday is the gala evening, you drive home on the Sunday, and then you have to start on Monday, and what you would really need is a week of holiday afterwards, because you are quite burned out. This was not a problem like 5 years ago, but over the last few years I always felt really really tired and exhausted, and it wasn't the physical part, it was more the mental side of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, the last 2 years, I think the Italians weren't able to bring a lot of teams to the Champions League or any. Will that change next year? Will we see Italian teams?
The problem is always the same. That's like the amount of competition that we have in Italy is getting bigger. So our schedule in the national season is very busy, and the Champions League is normally very close to Italian teams. And for people that only have one horse, um, like most of them, they try to stick with the plan of riding with the team and not taking too much of a risk. Um, yeah, I think for the kind of season that we have, it's very hard to take part both in the Champions League and the biggest national shows if you want to be competitive also in summer. Also because until like until this year, we'll see for next year, but the national, like the Italian teams were a compulsory competition for being picked for in the national team. So it was a very important show for in our season, and you cannot skip it if you want to be picked.
And will obviously Italy has been in a lucky position where a former or still active rider is now the national coach in the Opens and under 17s, I believe, in people, and will maybe and maybe everybody knows, and if you're not allowed to say it, obviously you don't have to say it, but the Italian selection process has been, I would say, similar over the last few years, and I would guess there's a bit of criticism connected to it. Will any of this change in the coming season?
We are trying to make it better. So I hope we can all expect the selection process and everything around it will have a big change.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been the national trainer for Germany for a few years. I had the power to pick the team myself just by, yeah, feeling what would be the best combination of riders and horses. And I think, uh, had I not had this power, um, I don't think I would have wanted to do the job. Um, and um, and this is just purely coming from a position that I have an idea of how I want my teams to work, and they need to be able to also work with me. And um, obviously, every decision that you take is a little bit biased. I mean, it is biased for many reasons, maybe for good reasons, and maybe also for some reasons that are not so valid. But I think if you're not able to really build your own team, it's difficult for those teams to actually function well and then be functional when you go into big competitions, and when you get to the situations where usually Italian team would fail, for example. And I think this will be interesting to see moving forward. What changes Italy can make. and what, not just what the changes are, but what this new system is and how it works, because I think the selection process in many countries is what is holding them back. Now I may be completely wrong with this, but I feel Germany has always overperformed the general quality of mountain games in Germany in the opens, because I had the freedom to choose the team that I wanted. If you look at the results of world individuals, or even next year, um, you would see a lot of Italians in the semis and in the final, same in the French, but you wouldn't see any Germans. Whereas when you look at the World Team Championship itself, you would see Germany on the podium quite frequently. And I think this is something where countries like England and Italy, who are regular chasing for wins in the open teams, where they could actually, learn things, to make that step back to the top. Because uh, as you have mentioned, I think the French, they are very dominant. They are dominant for good reasons. It's not even that they have the very best riders selected for the team. I mean, there would be, I would say, space for even stronger teams if they wanted. But they have the quality in depth. Like, what I mean is every year there's one or two new faces competing in one or two shows, and it's like the base that they have built, where if one rider is injured, or even two, they can use other riders that have already worked within the teams, that have already maybe even won. This is something that is very hard to beat. And with the World Team and European Championship in France next year, I think it's going to be a very difficult challenge to challenge them. And it will be interesting to see how the teams approach it. But I mean also France, because I think, you know, I think this is very interesting to see, because if England is maybe sending the same team to both competitions, and France as well, I think this will that's like the biggest chance for the English to maybe get a win, because if they have a full competition to get ready, then they will probably be more ready than what they usually are, because England are always, not preparing themselves for a championship. They are selecting the team, and then they have to get used to each other during the competition. And by the time of the final, they are starting to roll, but they are not really rolling. And I think if they have a full competition, and then the sessions ahead, by the time of the World Team Championship final, they should be really a lot better than by the time of the European final. And on the other hand, there's a lot more power horses in England, and this is not the case in France. So it'll be interesting to see how all the countries approach this back-to-back team championships. Do you already know what Italy's going to do? Will they send the same team, or will it be two different teams?
I think they will want to bring two different teams, but it doesn't have to be necessarily completely different, but it
Just maybe
might be
one or two
different.
riders. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I think that would be the approach. Like you have mentioned like having a new national trainer for the higher age groups. I think we got the best out of a weird situation this year, with a very unexpected event that prevented some people to take part, both as riders and as coaches, to take part into the World Championships this year. So we had a hole to fill. Like, actually, the federation has had a hole to fill, and I think they made a very good choice, and they took a very good opportunity to give a chance to someone that hasn't had a big experience on international fields as coach, not just in the titled or IMGA shows, but also in competition, like in big high level competition, international like Champions League or the Indoor Cup. But on his side, he has been he's a very experienced rider, so he has the feeling of. I think he might have a better feeling of what a team needs to be a winning team, and I think he has done a very like an amazing job because he was carrying a very young team with not much experience, and I think he managed to uh, get the best out of that team. So I have very good expectation about next year, especially like you said that you probably wouldn't have done your job as the national coach if you wouldn't have been able to pick your team. And he was not in that position this year because when he was named the national team, the team was already picked. So he had to do the best with what he had, and I think he has done a very good job. So I think that's the first step towards a change of approach towards teams, and we can get closer to give the right importance to certain aspect of the competition, of the team competition, and I think that's the first step, and hopefully other coaches and other clubs will kind of internalize how important it is um, to actually do the coach in the arena instead of just being like an instructor, and focusing on how you should have done uh, that part of the race, how you should have taken the handover, what's the technical reason why you missed something or you have done very good something, um, but instead focusing on what makes you what gets you closer to perform in the same way that you perform at home when you are relaxed and you don't have external pressures. um, so I'm confident there will be a change that can bring some new tools in Italy. um, you mentioned France and England for next year. I'm not sure what France will do. There are rumors that like some protagonist of the last very big result of France might not um, trial for the national team. Um, so maybe someone else will have a chance, and I think that's good because France has been so dominant for the last few years that this can open a new chapter of the team competitions.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think next year is like I already know my holiday is, is not going to be for 4 weeks, but I really hope I can get most of those competition because it's very like as a fan as a fan of the sport, it's very interesting to see how those competitions turn out, and especially looking at Open Team, European and World Team Championship, it'll be interesting. But I mean, we will know in May, once the teams are picked, what they will be doing, and um, I mean, it's also European Team and World Team Championship back to back. I think is a good bit tougher than European individuals and World individuals back to back, because in world individuals you play, unless it's the same in the European individuals, you play one session a day, 7 races, and then 8 in the semis if you make it, and 10 in the final. But in the European Championship, you play 4 sessions of 10 races and then 12 in the final, in two-part final, so 24 in the final. And then next week it's the same again. So I think this is a lot tougher on a horse than actually an individual competition that is back to back. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season. So one thing that I feel like we have to talk about is how impressed are you by Filippo Taresco and what he has done last season?
Definitely very impressed. Also because it kind of came out of nowhere. Also in the world individuals,
Yeah,
um, and was kind of yeah, kind of very unexpected. And then when I saw his name on the Italian teams in Italian individuals list, I never underestimated him. I knew that he could have been like a big threat. Then it turned out to actually be a very big threat. He won the competition. I had to battle with some issues, with stomach issues, with biscuits that I had since the Saturday at lunch. She stopped eating, and that didn't prevent me to play the semi-final. But the like the way she was very weird. But that's another story. Filippo made it through the semi-final. He won his semi-final and got into the final, and then had a very dominant performance with Dual, the pony that he rode this year. He made a very solid and a strong partnership, and like the way he rode the final was just amazing. Like he looked very very focused, and he never had one mistake until the last race, but didn't matter because he had already won. So maybe he didn't have enough pressure coming into the last race and just missed the last put in the cone in flag flyers. But for the rest was just a performance that was very close to being perfect. Like the way you feel, I think, in an Italian individuals championships is very very different compared to the like to a world individuals or a European individuals, because I don't know, maybe it's the size of the arena, which is normally much smaller, that makes you feel like it's just the way the pony rider combination works is just completely different. So there are some partnership that perform much better in the Italian individuals compared to abroad, and I don't think it has much to do with pressure or how prepared they are in one competition or the other. It's just very different. So it gives other people chances to prove how good they can be, and I think this can give them hope to maybe challenge themselves on bigger stages like world individuals, maybe next year, or European individuals.
For me, it's just I had seen Filippo ride, and basically what I remembered, I was looking at him because I knew the horse from when his previous rider was riding it, Lorenzo, and so I was watching it because I knew how good the horse was, but he
But
played with a
it's not the same horse.
no.
No, the pony that Lorenzo was riding before is Jace, and that's the pony that Filippo rode in the world teams this year. But the other one was that's why that partnership was so unexpected and came out of nowhere, because while
Okay,
Jace as
so just because I may be completely confused on this. So
Mhm.
the horse from World Individuals is a different one to the World Teams,
Yes,
and the one from Italian Individuals is the one from World Individuals.
yes.
I didn't notice.
Because
I didn't know.
they actually come from the same place and they have similar breed, and they are both
Maybe
chestnuts, so it's easy to
maybe
get
we should
confused.
go. Maybe we should go to the place. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
seem to have good horses. No, but I didn't know, and this is interesting. And I mean, it's I wasn't at World Teams, but I'm expecting him that he did well, and to be able to have two horses on this level and to compete on this level as he did with two horses is very impressive. And I think we don't know, what his future will be. But I mean, what a story it would be if he actually kind of turns up for a World Individuals as an underage rider and takes that challenge, and he would kind of have the personality to do it. And I mean, that would be interesting. And I think it's unusual because we haven't seen anything for so long. Because in the past 10 years, it was not like juniors would win the World Individuals in their first year. But now you have somebody that might be able to do it even as a junior because there's so much talent there with the horse and himself, and they are actually a great partnership. And I think he's a very young rider, but just by watching him ride, and I'm not speaking about how he might act out of the arena because I wouldn't know, but he's a really good role model and really good example for a lot of riders, and I mean also open riders uh, to see. Like he's a very good horseman inside the arena, and I think this is definitely part of his success. And I mean, not good horseman in terms of he's able to maneuver his horse the way he wants, but he does it in a fine way. He's gentle on the mouth, he's gentle with the legs, and he's just being a good rider.
Absolutely, yes. And I can also say he has a very good attitude uh, also outside of the arena. So he's just a good kid. Um, the one thing that I find very interesting is that there's a common aspect that has characterized uh, like the world individuals winner in the past, is that they all started with a partnership with their horse, which was um, something that you see very rarely, like the level of partnership um, and of understanding in both ways, so from the rider to the horse and the other way around. If you, for example, look at yourself on Villa, uh, Colin on Star, Mitch on Ellie, all those riders had um, one thing in common, I think, not right just the rider, but all those partnership, and had one thing in common, that they were such a special partnership. And I think um, Filippo is extremely good, is extremely talented, but um, it was very lucky with finding this pony, because sometimes you cannot kind of um, prepare it too much. It just have to happen at some point. But definitely was extremely good in capitalizing on this amazing partnership that he was able to build with his horse.
Yeah, yeah, but we'll see what the future brings. I'm very excited to be able to be part of it, at least as part of my game studio. And next season, obviously, I mean, for a while now, I think Mountain Game Studios just gonna be more busy and more busy promoting the sport. You are doing you're part of promoting the sport as just in time, which is not the same as Mounted Game Studio, but at least we share some of the things that we do. Obviously, we are lacking a bit of Italian language, so it's difficult for us to cover the Italian market and or the French market because obviously they wouldn't be English speaking. But I think for us, we were able to share a lot of the things that we do, and I think it's really exciting because this side of promoting the sport it was missing the last 10 years. I mean, social media has been there for a while, and we were so busy competing that we pretty much the sport missed the opportunity to be early in promoting their sports. But at least now we've made the decision to do it, and I think it's going quite well. And I think we can actually have a big impact on how the sport is viewed on and the development of the sport. And for us, this year was the beginning. Really, you have been busy for I don't know, 2 years, maybe 3 years. but you started with
Yeah.
a lot of like I would say new projects also this year, and I think it's just going to be bigger and bigger over the next few years, and it will be it will be enjoyable to be on the same path. Obviously, sharing our experiences with what we are doing. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to next season. Andrea, I wish you the best for your preparation and a little bit of luck that, sometimes you kind of just need to stay healthy, and also for the horses to be healthy. And, with the age, I can tell you when you're getting older, it becomes more difficult to stay healthy. So, yeah, but you are coming closer to achieve, one or two of the big goals that you have, and I wish you the best on your path to actually getting there towards the end. But I think next year should be a good chance again.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for all the work that you are doing to promote the sport. And I hope that with our efforts, but also myself and my partner Leo into it, we can take mounted games to the next level.